So I'm sure everyone looked at Luther Harkin and went, that guy could work in Pirates of the Caribbean, right? Like, right? It's too perfect for Luther Harkin to be in the Pirates of the Caribbean universe. So that's what this video is going to be about. So yeah. This video, as you can see, is what if the Vampire Coast was in the Pirates of the Caribbean universe. I haven't really done anything with Pirates of the Caribbean in, like, I'd say a long time. The last time I've really, like, talked about it, I think, was when I did the review for Pirates of the Caribbean, what was it, 6, 5? They're all awful after 3. That trilogy is solid. It may have some, that trilogy may... I'm gonna go on a little rant real quick. Those first 3 movies may have their problems, but, like, they're fun. I mean, World's End has some clear issues, but, like, at the same time, it's still fun. And way more interesting than 4 and 5. By a long shot. Yeah. So, let's talk about the idea of what if you brought the Vampire Coast, Luther Harkin leading the charge, to the universe of Pirates of the Caribbean. Now, like I said, Luther Harkin himself, a multiple personality vampire, pirate king, and pirate emperor, he just fits aesthetically, theme-wise, into the Pirates of the Caribbean universe. And then you look at the army he's kind of packing, ranging from sea monsters to giant crabs to whatever the hell, like these pieces of wooden boats put together like a golem with cannon arms, and they're stuck together with eels and sharks and shit inside them. That shit is some straight up, Pirates of the Caribbean fuel. Now, I could see Harkin, the thing with Harkin is that he builds his empire from the dead of the sea. Any kind of shipwrecks, he'll just turn you into a vampire, use necromancy to make you into a ghoul, and that'll set things up. And whatever's in the whatever eldritch horrors are in the ocean, he'll put that in his army too. Now, obviously, Harkin is not going to be liked by anyone. That goes without. That's putting it mildly. No one is going to be like, Harkin, I want you on my team. Everyone's gonna be like, Harkin, I'm gonna fucking kill you. Among those, chief among them, is going to be Davy Jones. And you may be thinking, well, Davy Jones does this. Harkin's just doing the same thing Jones is doing. No, he's not. Harkin is preventing people from dying. And Davy Jones's whole thing is that he is meant to ferry people to the land of the dead or put them on his crew. That's his whole thing, is to take them to Davy Jones' locker or put them, bring them to his crew. More often than not, because he got corrupted because, reasons. He has less people on his crew, and he has, he now has to deal with people who are not dying. In fact, the undead is the antithesis of what Davy Jones is. So Jones and Harkin are probably going to be at each other's throats. Like, those two are going to be after each other constantly. Like, now, Harkin has something that Jones doesn't. Jones has a crew has a crew. Harkin has an army. The numbers are kind of bigger on one side than the other. So Jones is going to have to fight against the Vampire Coast with hit and run tactics or something. Even with the Kraken at his side, Harkin still has fleets of monsters, some of which are bigger than the Kraken. So that could be, Jones can send the Kraken all he wants. Luther's just going to be depending on which personalities and sitting at the brain throne that day, is going to be like, oh, that's cute. Check out my monsters. And yeah, so him and Davy Jones aren't going to get along. Let's talk about the rest of the Pirates of the Caribbean universe. The British Empire's so fucked. The whole Caribbean islands are all fair game to him. That whole world in the Caribbeans, those exotic islands, those beautiful, these places where it's open ocean and boats have sank repeatedly on rocks and all these other places. That's just fair game for Luther. Harkin is just going to have a massive army of the undead pillaging these islands. In fact, it's been stated multiple times that if Harkin could just get his shit together, if Harkin really wanted to, he could invade the Empire of Man in the world of Warhammer Fantasy and probably I don't know if he could beat the Empire of Man, but he could definitely put some damage on them. Even in End Times, Harkin soloed 3 nations by himself with his army alone. I mean, he did get help from Manfred, and the help from Manfred is not a lot, so take that as well. But yeah, so Luther would just be he wouldn't be like Davy Jones or the other supernatural villains you saw throughout, like Blackbeard and Javier Bardem's character. I can't remember his name. The Black Lantern looking motherfucker. He would Luther wouldn't be like some legend or some scary story to tell by the while you're all drinking grog. No, he is coming at you. He is going to come up from the depths with an army, and in his own words, fortune favors the infamous. And trust me, he's very infamous. Now, could you just imagine the banter between Luther and Jack Sparrow? Like, Harkin and Sparrow would have the best, banter back and forth. I could just imagine them trying to insult one another, and, Sparrow's like, well, at least I can go for a walk in the daylight. And, Luther would just be like, you've escaped death too many times, Sparrow. This time there will be no escape. You know how many times I hear that on the daily basis? Quite a lot, actually. I cannot do a Jack Sparrow accent. I apologize for that chicanery. But yeah, you have to also understand that of this time period, people are using Matchlock rifles and whatnot. And yes, the Empire of Man and we are in the era of Warhammer Fantasy where they have muskets and whatnot, and they can fire, and dwarves have muskets and cannons and whatnot. But Luther has numbers and every time you die, every time you lose a soldier, they're just going to come back as a ghoul or a vampire and start killing your soldiers. It's said best in Doctor Who. The one thing that the dead have over the living is numbers. So, yeah, it's kind of hard to fight an enemy who can make the dead into make your dead into more of its own army. And yeah, Luther's just going to go around pillaging islands. He could probably reach the coasts of the American colonies and probably deal some damage here and there for it as well. All in all, I think Luther would be the single greatest threat to the universe of Pirates of the Caribbean, because there's really no one the pirate factions can't stop him. Even united, the pirate factions don't really have anything. You could say, oh, Calypso. They could call Calypso. Oh, she fucked off. That's not happening. And also, Calypso herself, she ain't gonna care. And Luther has god-killing weapons in his arsenal. So, good luck with that. The East Indian Trading Company, yeah, they've got numbers. They've got a great navy. They've got this and that. But you know what they don't have? Fucking sea monsters and a giant cannon that could blow away several ships. So, there's that. So, all in all, Luther Harkin would be the pirate. It would be not just the vampire pirate emperor of the dead. He'd be the fucking vampire pirate emperor of the fucking Caribbeans, and probably a lot of the sea. Davy Jones, the sea wouldn't belong to Jones anymore. It would belong to the dead, to the undead. It wouldn't belong to the dead. It'd belong to the undead, with Luther Harkin leading the charge while rambling insane words to everyone. So there you go. But you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you think it would be like if the Vampire Coast invaded the Pirates of the Caribbean universe? Comment below, let me know. Once again, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.